Welcome.
All right, great. All right, welcome everybody. I'm Jeff Langholz, and I'll be talking about the Conservation Leadership Practicum, which is this interesting 2-week certificate program we offer here. It's a 2-week program that's designed to train the next generation of leaders. We've gotten good enough at the Monterey Institute, we can train people to get great jobs after they graduate. Now we want to up the game and not just help them get great jobs after they graduate, but rise quickly to leadership positions so they can have a greater impact. And that's what this is about. So in developing this curriculum, we analyzed 72 job descriptions for executive positions in organizations. We also surveyed the executive directors of 24 organizations, and we asked them, in a typical week on the job, tell us really, what do you do? What do you need to know and be able to do? And we collected all that data. And the job descriptions for the executives, we saw the list of requirements for the jobs, and we looked to see which ones popped up most often. And we came up with our own David Letterman-style top 10 list based on this analysis. What do executives really need to know and be able to do? We put those 10 things together in an intensive 10-day program. 10 days, 10 skills. This is what executives really need to know. What are they? Any guesses? Delegate. Delegate. Managing teams is really important. What didn't quite make the top 10, but is very close. Let me just cut right to it. We spend the first week on the project cycle, strategic partnering, assessing site conditions, developing good management plans, monitoring, evaluating success. And then the second week is on implementation skills, cultivating major donors, leadership ethics, financial management, media relations, and conflict resolution. These are the 10 things that popped up the most often. And let me just give you a little idea of how we deliver these 10 skills. It's a 3-way approach. We do hands-on training where we get you with some real projects. We get you out in the field. Unlike some other classes here, most of them we're bound to campus, including DPMI. We actually get out in the field. And then we have the Meet the Leader series, where we bring in executive directors into Monterey and lock them in the classroom with you, and they just download what they've learned after 20 or 30 years in the trenches. We say, hey, tell the students what you wish somebody taught you when you were in grad school. And they're like, here's what I wish I'd known. And I'll go through these. First method, the hands-on training. We divide you into project teams using projects, real projects from around the world, and you'll be working with those projects for the 2 weeks. Here's a project team. I forget which one these guys are working on, but it's usually 4 or 5 students, and you do a variety of things related to that project. You also learn this really cool software. It's really new, it's really hot, it's taking over the environmental world, and the development community is coming up with their own version. It's called Marathi, and you'll become a Marathi master by the end of this. We also bring in some high-powered trainers. This guy's one of the big conservation silverbacks, we call him. He's a really senior person in conservation. This guy wrote the book on financial management training for conservation. Let me give you a sample of a module. One of the skills was media relations. I need a volunteer. Who's a volunteer? Raise your hand. Come on down here, somebody. Anybody. James, come on down. James is the executive director of a big environmental project. Let's say that he's setting up the marine sanctuary here, and I'm the camera crew here. Let's say, so James, why are you trying to create a marine sanctuary here and put hundreds of fishermen out of business? Don't you know these fishermen need to feed their families and they've been fishing for generations? How can you sleep at night putting these fishermen out of business?
Whoa. So let me just start at the beginning here. This project that I'm trying to develop is, So the project that I'm trying to develop, we're trying to create a new...
So you don't care about people at all, you better say something. Oh, you don't like the otters.
As
Otters are more important than food?
conservationist, now listen.
All right, thanks. Let's give it up for James. Give it up for James. So we do the baseline assessment where we interview with the 7 most toughest trick questions a reporter's likely to ask you. And after getting your baseline, where you go and freeze in front of the camera, we do the intervention, teach you the skills, and then we do a follow-up interview, and you just nail it. What we've done in the past is then we put you in a car and drive you to a radio station and put you live on a call-in radio station with 50,000 listening audience members, and they call you and ask you tough questions. I call it just-in-time training. It's not train you in something and then you might or might not use it 3 years later. It's we train you and then you use it a matter of hours later. Cultivating major donors. Every school in America has a class in grant proposal writing, how to write a grant proposal. But most money for nonprofits comes from individual donors, really rich people. So we bring somebody in from the neighborhood here, an affluent donor, bring her in there, put her in the classroom with you, and she explains to you, hey, this is what really makes me want to get out my checkbook and write out a big check. And this is what makes me want to get up and walk out of the meeting right away. And we do some role playing surrounding that. But we have one of our rainmakers come in, Beth McDermott, who's the chief fundraiser for the Monterey Institute, come in and explain some things she's learned over the years of raising millions and millions of dollars. We did the project site visits as well, get you out of the classroom. We head to some beautiful locations here in the Monterey Bay and visit some complex conservation projects, which is great. We do several field trips. This guy is one of the local ranchers here. Has a 4,000-acre ranch that he's treating as a conservation area. The Meet the Leader thing, we bring in the leaders, conservation executives. These are some from the past. Julie Packard, the executive director of the aquarium, one of the lead ocean conservationists in the world. She's come to this 3 times. She loves it. We've had it's just amazing to hear these executives talk about the things they wish they'd learned in graduate school. The things they've learned the hard way many times about media relations and raising money and strategic partnering and managing teams and monitoring projects and so on. You get to learn from the best. So those are the 3 methods, the triangle for CLP. Students love this stuff. We've run this 4 times now, and on a scale of 1 to 10, this thing's running a 9.6. It's the highest rated class I've ever been involved with at the Monterey Institute. Typical comments we get are like this: best class I've ever taken, and often it's followed by not just at the Monterey Institute, but anywhere. It helps careers. I mean, here's one of our teams, our project teams. They graduate, they get jobs with the Nature Conservancy, Environmental Defense Fund, World Wildlife Fund, Elkhorn Slough Foundation, and a variety of others. What tends to happen is during the interview, the interviewer looks and says, Conservation Leadership Practicum, what the heck is that? Tell me about it. And so I'm sure you talk about these 10 skills. It differentiates our students from the applicants from Duke and Stanford and Berkeley and all of the other schools who don't have this. Our students go on to get jobs with a variety of non-governmental organizations. You see some logos here, as well as intergovernmental organizations, United Nations Development Program, United Nations Environment Program, Food and Agriculture Organization, U.S. Agency for International Development, and a lot others.